Greetings, ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to another subscriber replay. This time we have Makara, and he is in the FV304 British Tier 6 artillery piece, the horrendous little Bert. Now, some of you may well know the reputation of this machine, some of you may not, some of you may well be about to find out. You may have seen some previous videos I've put up from Mac's gameplay, including his, I think it was Radley Walters medal in his Bishop. So this time he's just stepping things up a tier into the tier 6. I've yet to get this machine myself. It looks like it could be a lot of fun, but I don't yet own it. We're here on the steps map, and this is a tier 8 game, so Mac is bottom tier. So those of you who don't know anything about the FV, what is it? Well, it's basically a light tank with a howitzer slapped to the top of it. The howitzer is relatively small and so doesn't do that much damage, has a very long shell travel time, and is very short ranged. However, one, it's got a very high gun arc like the Bishop. I mean, it's the same gun from the Bishop. Two, its short range means that it's fairly accurate. 3, because of that high shell arc, not only does it mean you can hit people behind terrain, but you also come down on engine decks, roof armour, and thin squishy things like that. Also, this thing is a fast little bugger. And there's our first victim, T29. It's also fast firing. There we go, 152. So you're not going to sit where artillery usually sits in this thing, because you just don't have the range to hit people. There we go, 139. You can see this thing doesn't do a lot of damage, but it does nickel and dime people to death. So you have to relocate with this thing. You have to be able to get yourself in range. And so it can be, I imagine, quite a fun... Ooh, nice blind shot. Quite a fun artillery piece for those people who don't, generally speaking, like traditional artillery pieces, and that looks like a bit of a replay bug to me. That looks like another nice blind shot. Certainly didn't see an explosion from it. Nicely done. Can't hit the Carnarvon anymore, so Mac switches fire to the Super Pershing, who is behind a rock. And whilst that shot didn't hit him, it almost hit him, and it could well have hit him. It just, you know, went a little bit too long. Next shot did hit him, but only did some damage to the tracks or something. And next... And I mean, those of you who've played against this thing will know full well what the reload time on this thing's like and how annoying this little tank can be. Now, the problem with the Super Pershing is that the Super Pershing is covered in spaced armour, and so the HE rounds will hit the spaced armour, explode, and because these things have a very small explosion radius, there won't be much of the hull inside, you know, kind of a meaningful radius of the shell, and so it will struggle to do much damage to the T26E4 Super Pershing. This KV3, however, no such problems. And Mac can just keep peppering away at him. Switching to the IS-3, the IS-3 is a more valuable target. 46 to him. Looked like the IS-3 got tracked there and used his repair kit so that he didn't take a continual berthing, as that can definitely ruin people's day. 77 mighty damage count. The other thing, of course, with this gun is that you don't get any different ammo types. You get HE, and that's it. You get a larger supply of it, I believe, with the FV than you do with the Bishop. That KV's still sitting there. I'm not really sure why. Didn't he take the hint from the continual berting earlier on? Well, apparently not. Well, that's your own damn fault then. What are you gonna do? So, yeah, this thing just nickels and dimes people to death. 149. And rinse and repeat. Now, Mac's team is, however, losing. The scoreline is currently 3-7. He hasn't yet picked up any kills himself. But it looks like this guy's tracked, and he's going to stay tracked. And, oh, Mac just shifted the aiming reticule. But the KV3 is probably still there. There we go. And yeah, this is not looking particularly good. So it's a Lerva, T-34-2, Jagdtiger 88, Panther, Mac, and an M44. And just as I say, things aren't looking very good. The friendly team pick up 4 kills in quick succession, leaving the scoreline 8-9, which is rather more manageable. So Max switches target to this KV2. KV2 is on low health, and although it's a bottom tier tank, it still has a dirty great big howitzer that can do a lot of damage to its targets, and so that is a valuable kill there. The guy was on low health, so picking up the kill was entirely possible. And then Mac just switches back to where the was going to switch back to where the KV3 was. Instead pre-aims for the IS3 in case the IS3 moves forward and he can blat him in the face, but as it turns out it's not needed, and the friendly Lerva picks the guy off instead. And now the scores are even at 10 kills each. So, Lerva, T-34-2, Jagdtiger 88 FV and an M44 face off against a T-34 GW Tiger P, KV3, T-150 and M44. And Max telling his team, like a good little artillery player, that the enemy KV3 is rather badly beaten up. And the T-34-2 is apologising because of lag. These things happen. So, T-34 here is taking a bit of a battering. Oh, Mac just missed him. And you can see here with such a small explosion radius on these shells, if you don't get a direct hit with them, you're going to do a pathetic amount of damage. Probably no damage at all. But if you do get direct hits, then, as I say, you can just chip away at people's health pool and nickel and dime them to death. Oh, that one was a miss. So, they just lost the T-34, unfortunately, thus the friendly team is once again trailing by a kill. Mac just goes for a blind shot because he's got the reload and he's not doing anything else. And remember, this is on a light tank. Whoop, 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 whoop. And so actually, in a close range fight for an artillery piece, this little blighter can be surprisingly dangerous. Now this thing was actually nerfed a few patches ago. Because it was overperforming. I wonder if that was more, if its overperformance was more due to the fact that the sort of kind of very good players who, generally speaking, aren't interested in playing regular artillery were actually playing this thing. So it's always difficult to tell with these global average stats. It's difficult to tell the actual cause for any particular statistic. And so it can often be quite hard to judge. Oh, and they just lost their Lerva. That's bad. It can often be quite hard to judge whether what the cause of it is, as I say. So, the friendly team have now lost their Lerva. The enemy artillery managed to blat him. And so, it is two bottom-tier artillery pieces versus a top-tier artillery piece and a bottom-tier heavy tank and bottom-tier arty. The Lerva's saying he's apologising, he did his best. But the Lerva's a big, slow machine, and if a high-tier enemy artillery has it in for you, that's gonna sting, and there's not necessarily that much you can do about it. So, what are we gonna do? Well, the M44 is not too unmobile, dismobile, I'm not quite sure what the word is. It's mobile enough. Immobile, that's the word. Thank you, Loki. But he just got blatted by the T-150, so then there were three. This is not looking very good. But that was a very nice shot indeed. It's not very often that this gun penetrates its target, but it looked like that was one of those occasions, and when it does, it will do 450 average damage, so that was probably a shot that went into the guy's engine deck or something like that. Either way, it managed to wreck the enemy T-150, absolutely blat him, and that just means this is the Battle of the Artillery. But of course, this is not just any artillery, this is the mighty Bert. And so, compared to the other two, this thing is fast, has a fast-firing gun, aims quickly, and so in those sort of artillery v artillery duel situations, this thing actually does rather well. Some of you may remember a video that the Mighty Jingles posted up a long time ago, showing two FV304s, one on the friendly team, one on the enemy team, and they came to a gentlemanly agreement that if they were the two left alive at the end of the game, was it left alive at the end of the game, was it just partway through the game, I can't remember, but either way, they were going to have a jousting match on a beach. And so they both drove down to the beach and had a jousting match. Jousting match? What do I mean? As in, they lined up and drove at each other. It was kind of like a game of chicken. And tried to derp each other in the face. And then if they missed the first time, so they just kept going, lined up another, and they just kept doing it like a knight's jousting tournament. It was hilarious. Anyway, we're not going to have that. In fact, I'm not quite sure what we're going to have, and oh dear. So, the friendly base is now being capped. It is not an option for Mac to cap the enemy base. Because, well, the enemies have already started the cap, they'll cap first, they'll win. If the cap counter was under 10, maybe Mac could force a draw, but a draw is a defeat for everyone involved, so there's no point in doing that. But, again, FV304, as you can see here, bombing it along at 60 kilometers an hour. It's fast, but oh Christ, there's a GW Tiger P. Mac is ignoring the GW Tiger P, you're too slow for me, takes a blind shot at the enemy, at the friendly capture circle in the hopes of hitting the M44 who must be capping. Now, the GW Tiger P will take forever to aim and is not very accurate. So it's going to struggle to hit Mac, but he will have spotted Mac, and so the M44 is going to know that he's coming. So, Mac has a little bit of time to play with here. 30 seconds. But not necessarily a fantastic amount of time. As it is, he's come over just to the side of the M44's aiming reticule. M44... he went off early. That's a shame. And Mac derps him in the face. And the GW Tiger P misses another shot. Ooh... FV304 versus GW Tiger P. Now, despite the fact that GW is 2 tiers higher, in this sort of engagement, the FV304 is faster, more manoeuvrable, reloads quicker, aims quicker. The GW Tiger P at the moment is probably still loading. It's got a reload time of, what, 40 odd seconds or something at a guess? Now, Mac is continually driving transverse to the direction of this guy's gun arc, which means German artillery, they have very, very narrow gun arcs, and so if that guy were loaded and had a shot off, he would struggle to hit Mac, as he would have to continually move the hull and reset his aiming reticule. As it is, Mac just, and you don't say this very often, circled a guy to death in an artillery piece, and then managed to derp him in the side, and that was a very, very well played game that came right down to the wire there from Makara. So let's go and have a look at those results. And here we go. As we can see, that was an ace tanker, fighter, bruiser, and a gauze medal. For those who don't know what a gauze medal is, you get it in artillery for doing at least 10 times your own hit points in damage. He also picked up Confederate and Defender medals. What am I doing? 2,875 damage. This thing only has like 240 health. 4 kills, 1,149 base experience, and those 3 medals. Easily coming top of either team, whether you measure it by experience or whether you measure it by damage done. 30 shots fired. It's not very often you say that in an artillery piece. 30 shots fired, 22 hits, 19 pens, 5 splashes for that damage count. Some of it was actually at close range. That was kind of against the last 2 artillery right at the end. 10 enemy vehicles damaged, 4 of them destroyed. That's right, 4 kills plus a Confederate medal is quite impressive. 82 base defense points, 3.95 kilometers traveled. Again, you don't say that very often in an artillery piece. And a 40,000 credit profit just to sweeten the deal. A very nicely played game there from Mac. I'm looking forward to getting my FV304 at some point. Next time it's on discount, I shall pick it up. And hopefully have a lot of fun in it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, please feel free to catch some of my others and or subscribe to my channel, and I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao, ciao.